Hey, what's going on, my Weebalizations? If you don't know what a Weebalization is, it is nothing bad. It is an inside joke for those people who know what it means. But what's going on, everybody? I really didn't think I was going to make a video today, as indicated by my last post. I thought I might just kind of continue to drop little pieces of wisdom or knowledge, experience, what have you, but I kind of got up and was like, yeah, I think I've got enough content to make a video, and my heart wants to make a video. And my heart is always with doing ministry. And so kind of felt that fire rise up in my bones, and I'm in the bathroom and I can bam, 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 these concepts and how they're interwoven start kind of coming together. And so, same as always, I just pray that if it is God's will, if it is time for this word to be released, that he would just flow through me and bring this video together. And if not, that it will not happen. But I'm just gonna thank God for that and move forward by the power of the Holy Spirit for sure. So, I had alluded to or indicated that I am going to be doing a sermon on authentic you, like authentically you and audaciously you. And I think that's really important for those of us who want to live out our best lives. Simply put, what am I trying to say, Lord? Oh gosh, if I'm already getting like block in the beginning, I'm like, oh, maybe I made a mistake, right? But see, even in that, that's just the part of being authentically you and taking a deep breath and letting it out and being exactly who you were created to be. Not perfection, not perfectionism, not what somebody else's palate, what you think somebody else's palate prefers, but being authentically you. When you are authentically you, you give other people the freedom to be authentically themselves. And this really does result in inner healing, because a lot of us, most of us probably at some point in our lives have been deemed unacceptable, unworthy, rejected. Parts of us have been spoken about in a manner which we then took upon ourselves as probably a shame base, and altered our personality or altered our feelings or altered things about our true nature, that because we felt it was unpalatable to the, I guess, general population. That also goes with codependency and relationships, where men and women often find themselves kind of watering down who they are. If you've had that modeled for you, it can become second nature. I've come to find out that oftentimes we repeat the toxic patterns that were shown to us. As much as we try to avoid them, we'll actually repeat them because we were never exposed to anything different. That's why, by the glory of God, the truth will set you free. And of course, reading books as well is very, very helpful. But what I found in my current situation is that I needed it. My soul was crying out to be free, to be genuinely, authentically me. And sometimes that appears dangerous because you don't know what the result is going to be from being genuinely, authentically you. But you can only hold yourself, at least by the grace of God, you can only hold your true self inside for so long. Then it can turn inward, and you can become depressed, or you can develop a lot of belief patterns about yourself that are really, really unhealthy. So I felt like I have to go for what I know. I have to stand up for who I am. I have to be genuinely and authentically myself in this situation. And because that has the power to set me free. See, I live with the living God. And so, like, I know each of my steps are in his hands. So I am emboldened to move forth with confidence, though a little shaky sometimes. Move forth with confidence, knowing that what my Father wants for me is so much greater than I can even imagine for myself. And so when I commit my steps into His hands, He guides them. That's the word. That's the audacity of the word. And it was an audacity of a word I had to step out on. And so, needless to say, I had to move forward in a way that was very, what's the word, Holy Spirit? I had to move forward in a way that I knew would create an effect, that would create a cause and effect. But I knew I was staying true to myself. And things happened because of that. And help me, Holy Spirit. See, got to go back to being authentic, right? Go back to being authentic. Yeah, I don't know what to say right now. I'm not the perfect sermon person. But hey, like none of us are perfect, right? And that's probably something I should get into, but I shouldn't get into it before I finish this story. So, so basically, this was a very emotional process. It was something I had to do, but it was something that caused, emotions. It caused a lot of change in my life. It paused for a second. It caused a lot of change in my life, and it caused even, hurt for me. Not because I was rash or brash or anything like that, but because I needed to confront situations in my life that weren't aligning with who I was. And confronting those situations meant that those situations could no longer provide the certain things that they were providing in my life anymore. And so, but I was emboldened. I was emboldened to do this. And I'm thankful. And I want you to remember during those times to be thankful how strong you are. And be thankful that by the power of the Holy Spirit that God carries you through those times. And be thankful that God's grace is truly sufficient. And that He has a hope and a future for you. And now I'm trying to remember what I said kind of midway back there, right? Hopefully I'll get to it. So, one thing that I've been seeing today a lot is with God, all things are possible. And I want you to remember that. But I also want you to remember not to attach your happiness to a specific outcome or goal, but to the fact that God has a confident assurance of good for your life. And of course you can believe for something, and you can believe for something specific. But what I'm trying to say here is with God, all things are possible. So on this hand, you can believe like, God, you are able to do this. But hold on to that loosely as you hold on tighter to that God has a hope and a future for you, and creates all things to work together for your good, and that you have an amazing life in front of you. And what I would say is don't dim your light for anybody. I have often been told, like, a long time ago, and even when I was a child, that I talk too much. And, some people are a little, when it comes to me, because I'm very passionate and I'm very outspoken. I will definitely speak up when I feel something is wrong. I feel like it's necessarily my duty to bring truth into a situation that might be harming others. But this genuine expression of being yourself is what is going to bring the most contentment to your soul, and it's going to bring the most fruitfulness to your life. Goodness gracious, what was it that I was talking about? I can't remember, and I can't stop and rewind. I don't know how to do all of that. I'm pretty sure if I just stopped this video right now, it would be stopped. And all my notes are in that video. I will say that sometimes you need time, especially after relational problems, whether it be with friends, family, romantic relationships, to take a step back and get clarity. Um, Community is also very important, because I have learned in the past year and a half or so how much community is able to speak into your life, pray for you, but also call you out, like, like, wait a second, like, um, what am I trying to say? I had a situation one time where I felt the Lord was speaking something to me. And then my friend comes in and goes, but I was feeling very confused. And my friend comes in and says, Sherry, God is not the author of confusion. And then bam, it was gone. So I want you to understand the power and the blessing of community, and how they're able to help us navigate the times we can't navigate ourselves, how they're able to hold us up in prayer, how they're able to be God's hands and feet to you. And also they can help you, um, the heart wants what it wants. And sometimes it's not that you can't have what your heart wants, but that there's proper steps that need to be taken in order for that to happen. And instead of kind of just jumping full-fledged, and there's no shame in that, like, because we've all done it before, but instead of jumping full-fledged into what your heart wants, what it wants, people being able to speak and say, hey, this is still attainable, but let's make it grow organically and in a way that guards your heart and produces the most fruit, or excises what is not meant to be for you, and avoid a lot of hurt and conflict. And all right, so I'm flowing, but I have like this stutter flow. So whew, okay, now I'm trying to remember my notes, because there's just so much power in what God has been speaking to me. I did talk about the ability to step away and get clarity for yourself, and continuing to keep that focus on God, because He has your back. And Holy Spirit, help me so there's not a lot of dead air. I think, to go back to letting your light shine, like, each of us were gifted in very different and specific ways. And comparison is the thief of joy. That, I'm pretty sure that's not a Bible verse, but it is very true. If I look at somebody else and I go, oh, I wish I could do that like them, or this like them, but I have my own gifts inside of me that I'm not using, that my own passions that I'm not using, then I'm not living my best life. There are people out there, single people, married people, whomever, like, I'm talking to you, that will appreciate your gifts that you have inside of you, and that will benefit from them, and you will be able to walk in the fullness of and the joy of operating in those gifts. And really, my assignment today, more than anything, is to release you from the power of any negativity spoken over you, anything spoken over you that doesn't allow you to believe the very best about yourself, because you were divinely created and inspired. And so, does God make mistakes? Like, God doesn't make mistakes. God knows the desires of your heart. God knows how to fulfill the desires of your heart. Psalm 139. So, well, not specifically that, but I'm saying Psalms 139 talks about how we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God doesn't make mistakes. And so there are people out there that need your gifts, that would appreciate you for your gifts. And don't stop until you find that tribe. Don't stop until you find those people that see you for who you really are and appreciate that about you. And I always have things come into my mind, and then as I'm talking, they leave my mind. And so, okay, Holy Spirit, this is definitely a lesson, I think, in humility. But yeah, I think that reminds me, actually, to see, like, the joy and the beauty in everything, and having a heart that's able to receive, just to be able to see God, moving in your life. It is so life-giving, and and it's full of joy. As you could tell, it brought a smile to my face, right? And taking the time to stop and really, really count your blessings. And like today, I really realized more than ever how much blessing, how much riches are in friends. And that goes back to the community piece. That there's just, they have wisdom, they have the same Holy Spirit that you do, and they have wisdom and they have gifts and they are people, and that we just need to operate together as a body in love and grace and forgiveness and mercy and lift each other up. But just really taking time to see the blessings that are in your life. And I also really wanted to break off any shame that people feel about being their true selves, or what their past experiences have kind of indicated to them. I want you to find your value according to what God says about you, because that is unshakable. And you and I are in the same boat. Like, I had tons of experiences that would have invalidated my value. In my past, I'm 39 years old. And so it wasn't that long ago. So, but ask God, come to God, this intimacy with God, taking time to be away from God or away with God, and just allowing Him to speak life about your value, about your contribution to this world. And I'm telling you, I can feel it in my bones.